Have you ever had that nagging feeling that there's maybe a completely different rule book for money out there? One that goes beyond just working harder or saving a little bit more.
Yeah, definitely. It feels like some people just operate on a different level financially.
Right. Well, today we're actually doing a deep dive into exactly that intuition. We're exploring the really powerful, sometimes pretty unconventional insights from Robert Kiyosaki's big books, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and also Cash Flow Quadrant.
Mm-hmm. And our mission here really is to give you a kind of shortcut, a shortcut to understanding these financial principles that, let's be honest, you just don't learn in school.
Is that at all?
We're aiming for those real aha moments, uncovering the core lessons that the wealthy often teach their kids, lessons that the poor and middle class might miss out on.
And at the heart of Kiyosaki's whole philosophy is this amazing contrast, isn't it?
Yeah.
The lessons he got from his two dads.
Yeah, the two fathers. It's quite a setup.
You've got his biological dad, highly educated, brilliant academic, PhD and all that, but, well, struggled with money.
Right.
And then there's his rich dad, the father of his best friend, who didn't even finish 8th grade, apparently.
Yeah.
He became this super wealthy guy in Hawaii.
It's that stark difference, that duality, that really forms the foundation for everything Kiyosaki teaches. It's pretty compelling.
Definitely. So let's start right there. Let's unpack those really different core beliefs they had about money.
Okay. So Kiyosaki's poor dad, the highly educated one, Stanford, Chicago, Northwestern, impressive credentials. Top schools. He really pushed the conventional path. Study hard, get good grades, find a safe, secure job, preferably with a big company, chase those benefits.
The dream, right?
Yeah.
Or what we're told is the dream.
Exactly. And his sort of financial mantra, if you like, was the love of money is the root of all evil.
Wow. Okay. And then you flip that coin. You've got the rich dad. Less formal education, but a totally different view. What was his core advice? How did that challenge the norm?
Rich Dad's advice was almost the polar opposite. He told Kiyosaki to study to be rich, to really understand how money works, and crucially, how to make money work for you.
Make money work for you.
Yeah. And his belief, not love of money is evil, but the lack of money is the root of all evil. It wasn't about demonizing money, but understanding its power and, well, its necessity.
That's a huge mindset shift. It really speaks to, well, the power of your thoughts, doesn't it? Kiyosaki mentions his poor dad often said, I can't afford it.
Right. A phrase many of us use.
But his rich dad apparently forbade those words.
Yeah.
He insisted on asking the question, how can I afford it? What's the real power behind just changing that question?
Oh, it's massive. When you say I can't afford it, your brain basically it shuts down, stops looking for solutions. It's like hitting a mental wall.
Okay.
But if you ask, how can I afford it? Your brain kicks into gear. It starts problem solving, looking for ways or possibilities. It's not about buying everything you see, of course.
Right, not about being reckless.
Yes. No, it's about exercising your mind. Kiyosaki calls the brain the most powerful computer in the world. And that question puts it to work.
So it's like mental fitness. Saying I can't is like skipping your brain workout.
Exactly. And he saw the long-term effects. One dad's financial brain got stronger and stronger from constantly being challenged, while the others got weaker. It really drives home that financial intelligence needs exercise, just like your muscles.
Which leads perfectly into this other big point he makes. Schools don't teach this stuff. They focus on academic skills, professional skills.
Yeah, how to get a job, basically.
Right. But not financial literacy. And he says that's why you can have really smart people, doctors, lawyers, accountants, even bankers who still struggle financially. They know how to earn money, but not necessarily how to make it work for them.
It's a huge gap in traditional education, a really critical blind spot.
So if that's the missing piece, how do we start filling it? Kiyosaki boils it down to what he calls rule number 1, his single most important rule.
The foundational rule, yeah. You must know the difference between an asset and a liability and buy assets.
Sounds simple.
Yeah.
Maybe too simple.
It sounds simple, but the way he defines it is key, and it often flips common understanding on its head. His definition isn't about accounting standards or perceived value. It's purely about cash flow.
Okay, break that down.
Super simple. An asset puts money in my pocket. A liability takes money out of my pocket. That's it.
Asset puts money in, liability takes money out.
Exactly. And then he adds the kicker. Rich people acquire assets. The poor and middle class acquire liabilities that they think are assets. And that's where so many people get tripped up.
Okay, that's the twist. Thinking liabilities are assets. How does that play out in real life? He uses those cash flow diagrams, right?
Yeah, the diagrams are really clarifying. For someone poor, he shows income coming in from a job and then immediately flowing straight back out. Taxes, rent, food, transport, clothes, the necessities.
Nothing left over.
Nothing left for assets. It's a direct in and out flow. The middle class pattern is a bit more complex but follows a similar logic. Income still mainly from a job, but the expenses are way higher.
Mortgage, car payments.
Right. Mortgage, car loans, credit cards, student debt, the list goes on. Their liabilities often massively outweigh any real assets they might have.
And this is where the house asset idea gets challenged.
Exactly. Treating the home as the primary asset and then increasing spending every time you get a raise. Kiyosaki says that pattern is basically the foundation of today's debt-ridden society.
Oof. Okay, so then what does the rich person's cash flow look like in his model?
It's completely different. The income doesn't just come from a job. It flows primarily from their assets. Real estate, stocks, bonds, maybe intellectual property like royalties.
Stuff that generates money.
Stuff that puts money in their pocket. And crucially, that income from assets is greater than their expenses. The surplus doesn't just get spent.
It gets reinvested.
Reinvested back into buying more assets. Meanwhile, they actively work to keep liabilities low. It's a cycle, but a wealth-building cycle, not a debt cycle.
And this brings us back to the house thing. Rich Dad's view on the family home being a liability. That's pretty controversial. Why did he see it that way?
Well, his reasoning is pretty practical, if unconventional. First, people work basically their whole lives paying off a mortgage for a house they might never truly own outright, especially if they refinance.
Yeah, the 30-year treadmill.
Exactly. Then, yeah, you get tax deductions on mortgage interest, but he argues that often doesn't cover all the other after-tax expenses, property taxes, insurance, maintenance.
And property taxes can go up, right? Even after you retire and your income drops.
That's a big one. Plus, homes don't always appreciate in value, despite what people hope. And maybe the biggest point. All the money tied up in your house equity is money that isn't working for you in other potential income-producing assets. It's an opportunity cost.
Wow. Okay, that really makes you think differently about your biggest quote-unquote asset.
It does. And it reinforces his point that just earning more money isn't the solution if your mindset and patterns are wrong. He says money only accentuates the cash flow pattern running in your head.
Meaning if you spend, everything you get.
More money just means more spending. Bigger liabilities, it doesn't fix the underlying problem. The real fix, he insists, is intelligence. Financial intelligence.
Okay, so financial intelligence is the goal, buying assets is the strategy. But why do so many people stay stuck? You mentioned the rat race.
Ah, yes, the rat race. That's his term for the endless cycle. Get up, go to work, pay bills, repeat. Get up, go to work, pay bills.
Sounds exhausting and familiar.
Very familiar for many. And he argues this trap is primarily controlled by two core emotions, fear and greed, or maybe desire.
Fear and greed. How do they keep people stuck?
Well, the fear is obvious, right? Fear of not paying the bills, fear of getting fired, fear of having no money, fear of starting over if you lose your job. It's powerful.
Keeps you showing up every day.
Exactly. And then there's greed or desire, the pull towards all the nice things money can buy. The bigger house, the new car, the vacations.
The carrot.
Precisely. He uses that analogy. The donkey chasing a carrot on a stick. Fear is the stick hitting you from behind, pushing you out the door to work. Desire is the carrot dangling in front, pulling you towards, well, often just more bills. Chasing an illusion.
It's amazing how much emotion drives financial decisions, often unconsciously. People react instead of thinking.
Totally. Kiyosaki talks about his own early experience working for his rich dad for, like, 10 cents an hour. He got angry.
I bet.
But rich dad used that anger. Kiyosaki quotes him saying something like, "True learning takes energy, passion, and a burning desire." Anger is a big part of that formula because passion is anger and love combined. It fueled his desire to learn, not just quit.
So emotions aren't bad, but you have to harness them, not let them control you.
Exactly. If you don't get a handle on fear and desire first, you just end up becoming what he calls a highly paid slave, working harder and harder, but never really getting ahead.
A powerful, if slightly uncomfortable image. Okay, so breaking free means managing emotions and building assets. This leads to another core idea. The rich invent money. What does that actually mean? It sounds illegal.
No, not counterfeiting. It means their strategy isn't just working for money. It's learning how to make money work for them. It's about using financial intelligence to kind of engineer income streams
Right.
to leverage assets in ways most people never learn.
So designing your financial future, not just reacting to it.
Precisely. And he says this ability rests on 4 pillars of financial IQ, 4 key areas of knowledge.
Okay, let's break those down. Pillar number 1.
Accounting. This is basically financial literacy. Being able to read numbers, understand financial statements, know the difference between an asset and liability in practice, see the strengths and weaknesses in a business or investment.
Makes sense. You need to understand the language of money. Number 2.
Investing. He calls this the science of making money. It's not just putting money in a savings account. It's about strategies, sometimes creative ones, to generate returns.
Okay, 3rd pillar.
Understanding markets. This is about supply and demand. Knowing what makes markets move, both the technical side, the charts and trends, and the fundamental side, the actual economics. It's also about psychology, like recognizing opportunities when fear is high.
When there's blood in the streets, that sort of thing.
Kinda, yeah. But understanding why there's blood and whether it's a real opportunity. And the 4th pillar, this one's really interesting.
Why is that?
The law. Specifically, understanding the advantages that come with using corporations, tax advantages, and legal protection.
Ah, okay. This is where it gets really different from being just an employee, right?
Absolutely. The big one is taxes. A corporation can earn money, spend money on legitimate expenses, and then pay taxes on what's left.
Whereas an employee
Gets paid, gets taxed immediately on the gross amount, and then tries to pay expenses with what's left over. It's a huge structural difference.
And he mentions things like car payments, insurance, even vacations potentially being company expenses.
Under the right structure and within legal limits, yes. Things that benefit the business can be expenses paid before tax. Plus, corporations offer liability protection. The rich often own very little personally. Their assets are held in trusts and corporations, shielding them from lawsuits.
Control everything, own nothing.
That's the mantra. It separates personal risk from business assets.
Okay, that leads to another key distinction he makes. Your profession versus your business. Can you explain that?
Yeah, this is crucial. Your profession is what you do to earn a paycheck, doctor, teacher, plumber, whatever. Your business, according to Rich Dad, should be your asset column, the thing you're actively building to generate income outside your job.
So focus on building the business, not just climbing the career ladder.
Right. He uses the famous Ray Kroc example. Kroc built McDonald's, but he always said, I'm not in the hamburger business. My business is real estate.
He knew the real wealth came from owning the land unto the restaurants.
Ah, okay. Your job pays bills, your business builds your wealth. That's the idea. And this mindset completely changes how you approach things like luxuries.
How so?
The truly rich, Kiyosaki says, buy luxuries last. They wait until their assets generate enough income to pay for the luxury item. They don't go into debt using their salary.
So the asset pays for the toy.
Exactly. He tells a story about his wife wanting a Mercedes. Instead of financing it, they bought more apartment units, and the cash flow from those units paid for the car. The desire for the luxury became fuel to buy more assets.
That's a powerful reframe.
Okay.
It makes the desire work for your financial goals, not against them.
Precisely. Now, that inventing money idea, let's look at a concrete example he gives. Phoenix real estate during a market crash.
Okay, how did that work?
He found a house worth maybe $60,000, but the market was down, so he bought it for just $20,000 cash from someone desperate to sell.
Wow, quite a discount.
Huge discount. Then, instead of just flipping it for cash, he sold it quickly, but not for cash. He sold it using a seller finance note for $40,000 at 10% interest.
So the buyer paid him over time.
Right. The buyer made payments to him. So he got his initial $20,000 investment back relatively quickly through the down payment and early payments. Plus, he created an ongoing income stream of $4,000 a year, 10% of $40K from the note.
And that income wasn't immediately taxed like earned income.
Less taxed generally as investment income. And because he got his initial $20K back and still had this income-producing asset, the note, he considered his return on investment, or ROI, to be essentially infinite. He had no money left in the deal, but was still making money.
That's clever. Using financial intelligence to structure the deal for maximum benefit.
That's exactly what inventing money means in this context. Structuring deals, using the law, understanding markets, using your financial IQ.
Okay, so this ties into the different types of income he identifies, right?
Yeah.
Not all income is treated equally.
Correct. He breaks it down into 3 main types. First, ordinary earned income. This is money you worked for your salary, wages. It's typically the highest taxed income.
What most people rely on?
Exactly. Second, passive income. This usually comes from real estate investments like rental income. Often, it has significant tax advantages, making it the least taxed, relatively speaking.
Okay. And the third?
Portfolio income. This is income from paper assets, stocks, bonds, mutual funds, think dividends and capital gains. This is where people like Bill Gates derived a lot of their wealth.
So the goal, the key strategy for wealth,
is to convert your earned income into passive and/or portfolio income as quickly and efficiently as you possibly can. Use your job income to buy assets that generate the other two types of income.
Makes sense. Build those income streams that work for you and ideally are taxed less.
That's the path to financial freedom, according to Rich Dad.
Okay, so we understand the principles. Assets versus liabilities, financial IQ, different income types. But Kiyosaki also says that even people who know this stuff often still struggle. Why? He points out some common roadblocks.
Yeah, he identifies 5 main reasons why even financially literate people might not build substantial asset columns. They are fear, cynicism, laziness, bad habits, and arrogance.
All right, let's tackle them. First up, fear. Fear of losing money.
Everyone has it, he says. Even rich people fear losing money. The difference isn't the presence of fear, but how you handle it, how you deal with losing and failure.
What's the difference then?
He puts it bluntly. Failure inspires winners. Failure defeats losers. Winners use setbacks as motivation, as learning experiences. He even references the battle cry, "Remember the Alamo," turning a devastating loss into a source of resolve.
So don't be afraid to fail, learn from it instead.
And also focus. He advises against being balanced, especially when starting out. Balanced people go nowhere, he claims. Look at highly successful people, Edison, Gates, Soros. They were intensely focused, not balanced.
Interesting. Okay, obstacle number 2, cynicism.
The chicken little syndrome. The sky is falling. These are the people who always find reasons why something won't work. Their doubt and fear paralyze them.
They talk themselves out of opportunities.
Constantly. He gives examples of friends who missed a great real estate deal, people who dismiss things like tax lien certificates because they sound complicated or risky without investigating.
So what's the antidote?
Rich Dad said, cynics criticize and winners analyze. Instead of instantly dismissing an idea, analyze it. Look for the potential. Criticism just shuts down possibilities. It's often linked to those I don't wants, like I don't want the hassle of tenants, which stops people from investing in real estate.
You got to push past the initial negativity. He mentions Colonel Sanders, right?
Yeah, rejected over 1,000 times before KFC took off. That's overcoming some serious cynicism, both internal and external.
Incredible persistence. Okay, number 3. Laziness. But he describes it in a specific way, doesn't he?
Yes, not just sitting on the couch doing nothing. He says the most common form of laziness is staying busy to avoid dealing with important things.
Busy doing unimportant stuff.
Or just busy with the daily grind, avoiding confronting their financial situation, their health, their relationships, things that really matter but might be uncomfortable to face. Like avoiding managing their wealth because it seems hard.
So how do you cure that kind of laziness?
Surprisingly, he suggests a little greed. Or maybe, better put, cultivating desire. Asking yourself, what's in it for me?
Yeah.
What's the benefit of taking action? Tapping into that desire for a better life can provide the motivation to overcome inertia.
And connecting back to that earlier point.
Asking, how can I afford it? Instead of, I can't. That question forces you to think, builds mental muscle, and pushes you towards solutions, fighting that mental laziness.
Got it. Obstacle 4. Bad habits.
This ties back to a core principle from another classic book, The Richest Man in Babylon, the habit of pay yourself first.
Oh, they talked about that earlier with cash flow.
Right. Most people's financial habits involve paying everyone else first, the government, taxes, the bank, mortgage loans, credit card companies, and then seeing if anything is left for savings or investing. They pay themselves last.
So the habit needs to be reversed.
Absolutely. Develop the habit of allocating money to your asset column first, as soon as you get paid. Keep expenses low. Avoid racking up consumer debt to fund your lifestyle. And if pressure mounts, use it as inspiration to find ways to earn more rather than rating your savings or investments.
Discipline, basically.
Huge amounts of self-discipline. It's a habit that needs cultivation.
Okay, and the final obstacle, arrogance.
This is a sneaky one. Rich Dad's view was, what I know makes me money, what I don't know loses me money. Arrogance, Kiyosaki argues, is often just ignorance wearing a mask.
Pretending you know more than you do.
Exactly. When people are arrogant about money or investing, they often stop learning. They bluff, they boast, they criticize new ideas instead of listening. A truly intelligent person, he suggests, knows they don't know everything. They ask questions, listen to experts, and welcome new perspectives.
Because thinking you know it all is dangerous in finance.
Extremely dangerous. It leads to costly mistakes.
Okay, so we've identified the obstacles. How do we actively overcome them and start building that financial genius? Kiyosaki gives some practical steps, right? Like a to-do list.
He does. A sort of action plan. First, he says, find a reason greater than reality. You need powerful, emotional whys. Why do you want financial freedom? What deep desires will keep you going when things get tough? Surface-level reasons won't cut it.
Needs to be something strong. Okay, what's next?
Make daily choices. Remember, every dollar you spend is a vote for the kind of future you want: rich, poor, or middle class. Your spending habits reveal your choices. Choose consciously to be rich with each dollar.
Powerful concept. Every dollar counts. Then?
Choose your friends carefully. This sounds a bit harsh, but he means don't spend all your time listening to the chicken littles, the cynics, the fearful people. Surround yourself with people who are actively learning and growing financially, or at least support your journey. Be willing to stand apart from the crowd.
Your environment matters.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Number 4.
Master a formula and then learn a new one. Don't just learn one way to make money, like your job. Keep learning. Find a strategy, master it, then learn another. Real estate, stocks, business. The world changes fast. Continuous learning is key. It's less about what you know now and more about how fast you can learn new things.
Adaptability. Crucial. Okay, 5th step.
Pay yourself first. We covered this as overcoming a bad habit, but it's also a core action step. Discipline yourself to put money into your asset column before you pay your bills. It forces you to be creative about covering expenses.
Seems tough, but essential. 6th.
Pay your brokers well. And other professionals, accountants, attorneys, don't cheap out on good advice. He argues that top professionals are assets themselves. They provide valuable information, save you time, and make you money. Treat them like partners.
Good advice costs money, but bad advice costs more.
Precisely. 7th is interesting. Be an Indian giver, which is an outdated and potentially offensive term, but his point is about ROI in a specific way. Focus on getting your initial investment back as quickly as possible so the asset is essentially free and generating pure profit or allowing you to acquire more assets.
Like that Phoenix House example where he got his $20K back.
Exactly. Get your seed money back, then let the asset work for you. 8th ties back to luxuries. Use assets to buy luxuries. Don't use debt or earned income. Let your investments generate the cash flow to pay for the nice things. This motivates you to acquire more assets.
Makes luxuries a reward for smart investing. Nice.
Yeah.
9th.
Seek heroes. Find people who have already achieved the financial success you aspire to. Learn from their stories, their successes, their failures. Role models inspire and teach.
Learn from the best. And the last one, number 10.
Teach and you shall receive. He strongly believes that the act of teaching reinforces your own learning and often brings unexpected opportunities or insights. When you explain something, you understand it better yourself.
Like we're doing right now, hopefully.
Exactly. It forces clarity.
Okay, those are great steps. Are there any other sort of overarching insights or practical tips he shares?
Yeah, a few more key takeaways. One is that profits are made in the buying, not in the selling. Meaning, you make your money when you find a good deal, when you buy right. Don't rely on just hoping the price goes up later. Shop for value, especially when markets are down.
Be a smart shopper for assets.
Right. Another big one, great opportunities are not seen with your eyes, they are seen with your mind. This goes back to financial intelligence. You need to train your mind to recognize potential where others see nothing or only see risk.
Develop that financial vision.
Yes. And related to that, learn to raise money from sources other than just banks. There are many ways to finance deals if you're creative and knowledgeable.
Think outside the traditional box.
Definitely. And also acquire skills beyond your core profession. He stresses things like sales, marketing, communication, negotiation. Often being one skill away from great wealth means lacking one of these crucial soft skills, not technical ability.
So work to learn, not just to earn.
That's a phrase he uses. Sometimes taking a lower-paying job that teaches you a valuable skill, like sales, is more beneficial long-term than a slightly higher-paying job where you learn nothing new.
Investing in yourself, basically.
Absolutely. And ultimately, he ties it all together with a deeper sense of purpose, finding your path. He even mentions his cash flow board game as a tool.
Ah, yeah. The game. How does that fit in?
He designed it specifically to teach financial literacy and investing concepts in a fun, interactive way. It lets you practice recognizing assets and liabilities, understanding cash flow, and making investment decisions and making mistakes safely without using real money. It simulates real-world investing, both fundamental and technical aspects.
So it's like a financial flight simulator.
That's a great way to put it. Practice before you fly for real.
Okay, this has been incredibly insightful, lots of challenging ideas. As we wrap up, what's the final thought you want to leave our listeners with from Kiyosaki's work?
Well, maybe his most fundamental challenge. Money is only an idea. It's not inherently real in the way a rock is real. It's a concept we agree on. And if it's just an idea, you can change your ideas about it.
So the question becomes,
how might your life truly, genuinely transform if you consistently chose to have your money work hard for you instead of the other way around? If you shifted your core ideas about it?
It's a powerful question. Maybe think about what one small step, just one thing, you could do differently starting today. One choice to shift your mindset or start building that asset column, even in a tiny way.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, Kiyosaki insists your future is determined by the choices you make today, especially the choices you make with every single dollar.
Food for thought. Definitely something to mull over. Thanks so much for breaking all that down.
My pleasure. It's powerful stuff.